The three Barstow children of Wethersfield, Connecticut, Mary on the left, Daniel in the center, and David on the right, shared with their parents, Robbins and Meg Barstow, a great enthusiasm for the kind of family fun generated in the 1950s by Walt Disney's early television programs, which they loved to watch together in the living room. When they saw outside the Main Street drugstore in Old Wethersfield a contest announcement of 25 free family trips to Disneyland, sponsored come true, so they bought not just one but 6 rolls of Scotch tape, and the whole family set to work. David made a 3-dimensional model of Disneyland Castle using Scotch tape. Mary created a Scotch word puzzle. Young Daniel copied his own words right on the official entry form. And Meg was inspired to write a poem about Scotch tape. I used alphabet soup letters to spell out an acronym. Finally, we carefully wrapped each of these attention-getting entries, plus a photo of all 5 of us using Scotch tape, in a large carton, and mailed it by special delivery to the contest sponsors in St. Paul, Minnesota. We knew we had to make our entries really stand out if we were going to have any chance of winning in this nationwide contest, reportedly entered by over 1 million people. Then came the long wait and a return to ordinary activities like mowing the lawn with the help of other neighborhood residents, and mowing the boys' hair in the front yard to help keep family expenses down. It really didn't hurt. At that time, we had a little pet parakeet named Binky, and we all kept trying to teach it to say, "Where's the Scotch tape? Where's the Scotch tape?" Then one day in June, Binky seemed to sense something special in the air, and sure enough, a telegram was being delivered to our house. This looked important, so the whole family gathered outside the front door for me to open the envelope. It was from the president of the Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing Company, and it read, "Congratulations on being one of the winners in the Scotch Brand Disneyland contest." Unbelievably, our dream was really going to come true. Meg was the next member of the family to read the telegram. It said that a company representative would get in touch with us the next week to make arrangements. Then it was 11-year-old Mary's turn to be overcome. What a way to start a summer vacation. When 8-year-old David got to look at it, he also was grounded. The telegram actually was addressed to 4-year-old Danny, the youngest, who wasn't really able to read it, but who nevertheless went head over heels at the news. Talk about being blacked out and seeing stars. It was as if there were a whole sky full of fireworks exploding on the 4th of July. It didn't take us long to recover, however. We were one of 25 families across the United States who had won this fabulous prize for a free week-long trip to California, and we wanted to be the first family to get there. So the kids lined up with their Mickey Mouse Club hats, shirts with their names on them, and airline travel bags. Actually, we had to wait till the 3M's representative personally delivered to Danny our airplane tickets and $300 in cash for meals and incidentals. Danny's winning entry was the simplest of all. I like Scotch Brand cellophane tape because when some things tear, then I can just use it. The date set for our departure was Wednesday, July 11th. Both the Hartford Courant and the Hartford Times carried photo stories about us, which our friends and neighbors excitedly shared with us. The headlines read, "Danny, 4, labors long, wins vacation for family," and 10 words written by 4-year-old, wins family trip to Disneyland. Meg had previously made for each member of the family a brightly colored Davy Crockett jacket, which we used on camping trips. We thought it'd be great to wear these jackets for our trip, and the whole neighborhood came out to wish us bon voyage. They threw confetti and streamers at us as we got into the car to drive to the airport. We weren't just married, but we were just contest-tied. Back in 1956, there were lots of families with kids, like the Nidals here, living in Stillwell Drive. The Dibbles lived next door on Coleman Road. Neil and June Cox lived in Wethersfield then, and their older daughter Anna was Mary's best friend. Dudley and Ruth Birmingham, with their sons Dick and Alan, lived across our backyard. Mrs. Johnson and a friend represented the older generation in the neighborhood, and the family of Dorothy and Joe Bonin lived right next door to us. What a great send-off they all gave us as we headed up to Bradley Field, as it was 40 years ago. We were going to fly first from Hartford to New York and then to California. We brought along our Scotch tape-made sign, and the pilot and stewardess were greatly interested in our being Disneyland contest winners. The children each wore white sailor hats that had Connecticut written on them so people would know where we were from. This was the first time they had flown in an airplane, so it was very exciting for them. In those days they didn't have jet planes, just propeller-driven airships. But just being in an airplane like this was a tremendous experience for all of us. The pilot flew right over Wethersfield, so we could look out the window and try to pick out our own house, someplace in the middle down there. When we got to New York, the plane landed at the old Idlewild International Airport, which later became the J.F. Kennedy Airport. We had to change planes here, and I must tell you that the Scotch Tape Contest prize was actually only for a family of 4. And here we were, a family of 5, without any extra funds. But since we certainly couldn't leave anyone behind, we worked out a deal. The company had furnished us with 4 first-class tickets, and we simply exchanged them for 5 tourist tickets at no extra cost. It meant we wouldn't get fancy meals served to us in the luxury rear section of the plane, but we were happy just to eat our picnic box lunches in the more crowded forward part of this giant TWA Super Constellation plane, which had a capacity of 64 passengers. Here we are out on the runway, ready to depart for the long 9-hour flight from New York to California. This was a difficult shot to take of the plane taking off, but I used a telephoto lens. As the plane flew over New York City, we could look out the window and see down on the right the United Nations building, and then over on the left the Empire State Building. What a thrill it was to be 4 miles up in the sky, flying high above the clouds. We followed our route on a map of the United States, so we could tell when we flew over the Mississippi River down there below, on our way to a midpoint stop at the striking new St. Louis, Missouri airport. Here they changed crews, and the plane was refueled. As we flew on across the country, above the Great Plains and then the Rocky and Sierra Mountains, we counted a total